in the marketplace. Pop-up window. Release notes. Release notes 1.37.19.0. If you are playing on PC, outdated packages in your community folder may have an unexpected impact on the title's performance and behavior. If you suffer from stability issues or long loading times, move your community package S to another folder before relaunching the title. How to install a new update safely. SDK Material Editor. Fixed Material Editor in FX context when opened through the Scenery Editor. Release notes 1.37.18.0. New content / feature. Microsoft Flight Simulator is now available to play with touch / gyro controls on Xbox Cloud Gaming. Please check out the following guide for more information. Touch / gyro FAQ. Airbus A320neo B2 is now available. General bug fixes. Fixed an issue where friends occasionally appeared duplicated in the friends list. Improved performance, improved FPS particularly where the FPS was low. Reduced stutters particularly after long gameplay. Reduced loading times. Various crash fixes across the title. FPS display. Memory usage now displays allocated virtual memory rather than used physical memory pages. This more accurately reflects the memory effectively used by the simulator menu. Fixed an issue preventing the content manager to load while the player was offline. Navigation / traffic. Resolved an issue where users were experiencing a loss of audio for ATC instructions and other aircraft communications while the AI copilot continued to respond. Fixed some nav data packages not correctly loaded. Improved usage of available flight aware data to feed live traffic in the sim. Increased the maximum number of aircraft visible in free flight. Improved spawn condition of air traffic planes to increase live traffic on airport. Improved AI behavior of live traffic planes on and around airports. Weather. Moved the iced water threshold up from 27 centimeters to 72 centimeters in order to limit the amount of wrongly frozen water in the world. Example: Swiss lakes, Norwegian fjords. Activity. Fixed an error in the ILS approach training. The CDI and the CRS info are now both displaying the correct heading. Fixed bush trip and live event achievements. Corrected achievements are Fire and Ice in the Gold Rush and Decathlon Glass Cockpits. Garmin G3000 / G5000. Fixed an issue where the MFD navigation data bar dest field displayed the incorrect airport in certain cases. Fixed incorrect calculations for MFD navigation data bar fields related to the destination, DTG log FOD, in certain cases. These values are now also consistent with the airport displayed in the dest field. Fixed an issue where GPS signal could degrade inappropriately during long flight sessions. Fixed an issue where the flight plan could become corrupted after removing an approach in rare cases. The SHE2/from indicator now displays the correct indication while the active navigation source is FMS instead of always indicating to. The system will no longer automatically switch CDI source from FMS to LOC during ILS/LOC approaches unless the autopilot's LOC mode is armed and ready to capture the localizer course. Garmin G3X Touch comprehensive visual overhaul of the avionics for accurate font symbology, look, operation and feel. Built-in support for direct to and point-to-point VFR flight planning and navigation capability. Support for IFR navigation when paired with a compatible external navigator, such as the GNS 530W/430W. Support for aircraft-specific EIS and MFD engine page layouts including optional lean assist and fuel calculator functions. G1000 and Z fixed an issue where the PFD could become partially unusable on initialization and required a flight restart. Fixed a bug where the XPDR keypad entry would break when the XPDR mode selector button was pressed while already in XPDR mode. Fixed an issue where the MFD navigation data bar dest field displayed the incorrect airport in certain cases. Fixed incorrect calculations for MFD navigation data bar fields related to the destination, DTG log FOD, in certain cases. These values are now also consistent with the airport displayed in the dest field. Fixed an issue where the last digit of COM frequencies could not be entered with the control pad. Fixed an issue where the control knob events did not reset the control mode reset timer. Fixed approach minimums GCU keypad entry not working. Fixed an issue where the flight plan could become corrupted after removing an approach in rare cases. Garmin GNS 430W/GNS 530W fixed an issue where the autopilot would not function correctly after loading or reloading the GNS instrument in the middle of a flight session, e.g. when hot swapping instruments in certain airplanes. Prevent instruments not loading correctly when hot swapping. Fixed an issue where GPS signal could degrade inappropriately during long flight sessions. Fixed an issue where the flight plan could become corrupted after removing an approach in rare cases. Added support for configuring the index used by the LNAV computer using the panel.xml tag. Where this is not set, it will default to 0 to preserve support. Added support for setting the autopilot max bank angle using the panel.xml tag. Where it's not set, this will default to 20. LNAV data symbars will now be published with indexes according to the LNAV computer index. Added support for disabling the autopilot through XML configuration using the tag. GNS units no longer require an internal autopilot, or autopilot of any kind, to automatically switch CDI source from GPS to VLOC during ILS/LOC approaches. The logic to automatically switch CDI source from GPS to VLOC during ILS/LOC approaches now runs independently on each GNS unit. This fixes some incorrect behavior that could be encountered if two GNS units in the same airplane were configured to maintain independent flight plans. WT21 FMC, fixed FPLN recall not working on the Copilot FMC. Added plugin system to allow third-party developers to customize and extend the functionality of the WT21. Added alternate style option for the artificial horizon on color schemes via CSS variables. Documentation follows soon. Removed CJ4 specific code from the WT21 and moved it to CJ4 plugins. CDU, ported CDU to new framework in Avionics SDK to enable extensibility by third-party developers. Aircraft corrected a tooltip which indicated a value in Celsius degrees rather than angular degrees. General added multi-rotor support for helicopters, Chinook dual rotor, improved performance of glass cockpit heavy airplanes, EX Boeing 747, that use the Coherent/JS tech stack. Initial work on improving plane and livery model matching for live traffic aircraft. It will now try to partially match aircraft types of the same airlines if a specific livery or model is not installed. As a last resort, it will try to fall back to an airline that generally serves the current airport or region. Known issue: the nameplates of AI traffic can show a wrong aircraft type ICAO. New high accuracy physics system to enable vibrations and micro movements. Enabled new soft gears on Cessna 172 and Gamble Cabri G2. Optional soft ground collision model for tires/flexible gears. More accurate ground contact model. Ground contact resolution improvements to ground handling and ground collision physics for the Cessna 172 and the Gamble Cabri G2. Fixed an issue that caused some P-51 Mustangs to lose power on full throttle. Helicopters improved functionality of multi-engine helicopter governors and engine trimmers. See SDK for more details. Multi-engine helicopters, it's now possible to control the governor switches and engines trimmers for each engine individually. See SDK for details. Multi-engine helicopters, it's now possible to bind governor switches and engines trimmers via control options menu for each engine individually. Airbus 310-300 fixed, interior model appears to be missing when viewed by other users. Fixed, auto throttle does not animate the throttle but does work. Fixed, fuel flow gauges and MFD indications do not match. New throttle calibration function added. Fixed, large pitch oscillation when unpausing while AP is active. Fixed, audio unable to hear nearby A310 when in cockpit camera. Translations added for updated tooltips. Boeing 787-10/Boeing 747-8I add, fixed an issue where auto throttle would not automatically activate if armed and to/GA pressed below 400 feet RA on approach. Add, fixed to/GA activation logic on approach. ND, improved the fix info distance circle projection at higher latitudes. ND, fixed a bug where the flight plan would not be displayed on the map. 787 SYS, fixed an issue where the engine gen control lights would flicker off on full engine power because of engine combustion issues caused by fuel starvation. 747 SYS, fixed an issue where the engine gen control lights would flicker off on full engine power because of engine combustion issues caused by fuel starvation. 747 SYS, adjusted pressure of the stabilizer tank pumps to prevent the center tank from emptying during transfer. 747 SYS, tune engine model for more realistic idle RPM and ITT. Fixed issue where the LNAV autopilot mode would immediately become the active mode instead of armed on the ground. Gamble Cabri G2 corrected an issue that would cause the engine to fail to start when using the auto start key on the Gamble Cabri G2. Cessna Citation Longitude added support for the following TAWSA alerts, PDAEDRECRNCR. Added support for TAWS voice callouts at 40, 30, 20 and 10 feet. Cirrus SR22T elevator trim is now reflected in control stick position, non-VR only. Fixed issue where right control stick AP disc button was inoperative. Fixed issue where virtual cockpit trim switch was not operating. The trim corrected positioning of left rear cabin light. Fixed incorrect and sunken gear position when on ground. MFD now correctly comes on with main bus power. Fixed issue where display units would not update on the WNB page after changing them in the G1000 settings added. And tuned new ground handling parameters. Adjusted engine parameters and ECU logic to account for fixed intake density mixture behavior. Cup Crafters NX Cup updated avionics to the overhaul G3X Touch. Corrected fuel tank capacities, 24.5 gallons total / 23 gallons usable per tank. Adjusted the engine's max rated horsepower value from 180 to 215 to match the published specifications of the CC393i. Cup Crafters X Cup updated avionics to the overhaul G3X Touch. Corrected fuel tank capacities, 24.5 gallons total / 23 gallons usable per tank. Dair DBM 930 added support for the following TAWSB alerts, PDAEDRNCR. The 500-foot touchdown callout is no longer inhibited when the autopilot's GS/GP modes are active. House Utrecht's Ornithopter Dune Ornithopter, fixed the landing gear initialization during RDC when starting the mission from the runway in free flight. Fixed landing gear animation bug when touching the ground with raised landing gear. Ornithopter gear state are now properly displayed in multiplayer. JMBVL3 updated avionics to the overhaul G3X Touch. The fuel pump switch is now on when loading a flight on the runway. Pilatus PC6 added AI Sound XML for PC6 Classic wheels. Added force camera entries to checklists. Fixed dimmers for annunciator lights not working. Fixed tooltip value for the left column of lights, main panel. Fixed missing tooltips on fuel filter clogged and starter lights. Fixed AI checklist autocomplete issues with fuel system valve and parking brake. Fixed rudder pedal animation. Fixed fuel pressure reading is above the red line during flight and taxi operations. Fixed engine cannot be restarted without toggling fuel valve to closed then open. Fixed engine can be started with the condition lever set to cut off. Fixed fuel system valve test during checklist. Fixed condition lever input event naming. Fixed camera upper view clipping the ceiling. Fixed alternate trim switch moves instead of hat switch. Fixed unable to turn on transponder when starting from cold and dark. Fixed cannot auto start aircraft without external power. World fixed missing aerials and random crashes when multiple packages cover the same zone. Reworked the rendering of the world tiles to avoid graphical glitches under DX12 launch airports. Standard edition fixed. KJFK John F. Kennedy International Airport, there are several game-breaking obstacles. Fixed. KJFK John F. Kennedy International Airport, taxiway bridges over Belt Parkway are missing. Fixed. KJFK John F. Kennedy International Airport, gates are not properly organized after tsunami. Fixed. KLAX Los Angeles International Airport, the VASI lights at runway 25 appear to be inaccurate. Fixed. KLAX Los Angeles International Airport, runway lights are missing. Fixed. KLAX Los Angeles International Airport, the taxiway is labeled with a different name. Fixed. KLAX Los Angeles International Airport, there are missing and mislabeled taxiways. Fixed. KMCO Orlando International Airport, gates are not properly organized and there is no option for taxiing to them. Fixed. KSEA Seattle Tacoma International Airport, there's a sudden collision with the ground on RWY34L. Fixed. LOWI Innsbruck Airport, the taxiway at the airport goes over a hill. Fixed. LPMA Cristiano Ronaldo Madeira International Airport, issue with the taxiway and lights. Fixed. LPMA Cristiano Ronaldo Madeira International Airport, the terrain is bumpy and uneven. Fixed. RJTT Hainda Airport, there are some flying cars in the airport. Fixed. RJTT Hainda Airport, issue with a hill/mound on the runway. Fixed. RJTT Hainda Airport, all gates are classified as ramps and some ramps are incorrectly labeled as gates. Fixed. TNCS Guangzhou Yiraquin Airport, the helipad label is missing. Fixed. BQPR Paro International Airport, issue with fence and lamp posts. Fixed. YSSY Sydney Kingsford Smith Airport, there is incorrect taxiway signage for runway 34L and 34R. Launch Airports, Deluxe Edition Fixed. Fact Cape Town International Airport, the taxiways are uneven. Fixed. KORD O'Hare International Airport, exterior gate lighting is missing from some concourses. Fixed. KORD O'Hare International Airport, at gate M17 a vehicle appears to be stuck on the outer wall of the terminal. Fixed. LEMD Adolfo Suarez Madrid Barajas Airport, there is an invisible wall at the airport. Fixed. LEMD Adolfo Suarez Madrid Barajas Airport, baggage ground service and pushback tractor collide with objects at T4S gate 537 and T4 gate 374. Launch Airports, Premium Edition Fixed. EDDF Frankfurt Airport, the light pole on taxiway N8 is causing heavy planes like the 747-8 to crash. Fixed. EGLL Heathrow Airport, problem with fence and lamp posts. Fixed. EGLL Heathrow Airport, the gates are not mapped correctly. Fixed. KDEN Denver International Airport, trees and bushes are present on taxiways and the terminal apron. Fixed. KDEN Denver International Airport, there are elevation issues. Fixed. KDEN Denver International Airport, issues with collisions on objects. Fixed. KDEN Denver International Airport, there is insufficient illumination at the airport. Fixed. KSFO San Francisco International Airport, 10L hold short lines are displayed inverted at the airport. Fixed. KSFO San Francisco International Airport, all gate numbers were changed in 2019 but the old numbers are still used in MSFS. Fixed. KSFO San Francisco International Airport, leading 0 on runways 1L and 1R. Fixed. KSFO San Francisco International Airport, runways 19R and 19L have bumps. Fixed. KSFO San Francisco International Airport, there is uneven pavement on runway 28R. Fixed. OMDB Dubai International Airport, no poppy lights at the airport. Fixed. OMDB Dubai International Airport, buildings along the airport approach are too high. Fixed. OMDB Dubai International Airport, there is a problem with some textures at the Dubai airport. Peripherals updated Yaman Aero presets added Turtle Beach flight deck support added support for Virtual Fly Yoko Neo added support for Virtual Fly TQ Neo new controls added new actions to support twin engines helicopters SDK fixed a crash when deleting a visual effect block then undoing it the spawner tab of the template/instances debugger window now has a drop down menu to select which effect to spawn if multiple are defined in a single file fixed issue where use intake density and mixture. would cause mixture to lean when map exceeded sea level. Fixed issue where use of volumetric fuel_flow could show fuel flow if engine was spinning even if fuel was not available. Added new parameter pedalia control scalar plug to compensate for pedal control_scalar parameter that was missing in modern helicopter flight model. By default it is initialized to 1.0, which is the value to set to make this parameter not change anything. Renamed helicopter engine related keys to match their define. Updated Blender exporter dev mode. Fixed the crash occurring when hovering console after building a package. Fixed the gizmo scaling feature in the scenery editor. SimConnect inspector's data definition is now updated if a data definition is destroyed. Fix a crash when updating a data definition while requesting it. Aircraft loaded system event is triggered later once the aircraft is loaded. Done IO pop-up has been removed. SimBars improved indexing for multi-engine helicopters in Simperadorgo switchbus and Simperadorgo_active. Aircraft editor fixed several parameters. Configuration to avoid data corruption. User lights tool renamed. Pause lighting system to disable lighting system for clarity. WASM fixed issue with non-ASCII characters on path when building packages containing WASM. Fixed register and register issue on COM bus extension. FS map view set 2D view lat long set lat/lat instead of lat/long. Map used weather rain colors do not return false if the function succeeds anymore. Fixed a crash when moving a VFX spawned in world far from the player. WASM VFX API. Fix crash when spawning a VFX on sim object that is not fully spawned. Unused WASM module memory is now given back to the system to reduce memory impact of WASM module. Debug info about WASM memory usage has been added to the WASM debug window. Stack Overflow check added in WASM. You can leave feedback on various topics here. https://forums.flightsimulator.com. Below are 1 buttons. 1. OK.